to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, dear friend. In this gentle space, you are invited to set aside the rush of the day and slip into a cocoon of calm. Softness awaits you here, where the world of everyday concerns can fade to the background, and a gentle tale of a fairy's summer festival begins to form. It will be a story of twinkling lights and the tender warmth of laughter drifting through the evening air. But before we begin, take a moment to settle yourself, letting your body rest in your coziest position. Feel the weight of your limbs sink gently into the surface beneath you, and let your breathing flow in slow, harmonious waves. With each breath in, imagine a soothing glow filling your chest, and with each breath out, let any lingering tension ease away. Notice how your shoulders relax, how your jaw softens, how even the corners of your eyes release any tightness. As you breathe in that soft glow, welcome the thought that tonight is a time for peace. This is your moment to rest. Soon you'll journey into a magical realm where summer breezes carry the scent of blossoms and tiny flickers of fairy lights guide a celebration under a starry sky. Now let the breath fall into its own calm rhythm, unhurried and steady. Perhaps you can gently close your eyes or let them stay softly open, half-lidded with ease. If thoughts come drifting by, allow them to pass, like leaves on a quiet stream. There is no need to chase them or push them away. Simply watch them float. In this soothing atmosphere, your body settles more deeply into rest, and a lightness begins to gather in your mind, a sense of readiness to be carried away on the wings of a gentle fantasy. With each slow inhalation, feel your lungs expand with calm. With each soft exhalation, feel the release of any burden you no longer need. You are safe here. Your mind and body deserve this rest, this pause, and this enchanting story that is about to unfold. When you feel ready, let the gentle narrative begin. A soft invitation to drift into a land of magic and revelry, guided by the hush of a summer evening breeze. Once upon a midsummer eve, a woodland realm stirred beneath a sky of shimmering violet and gold. Through the tall reeds along a crystal creek, tiny lights flickered like a playful dance. In a quiet glade, near an ancient oak tree with broad branches that whispered in the slightest breeze, a small fairy named Marisol prepared for a most cherished night of celebration. She was a gentle soul, with wings that caught starlight in delicate patterns reminiscent of swirling constellations. Her hair glimmered with soft threads of silver, and her garments shimmered in shades of dawn pink and moonlit lavender. Her heart fluttered with anticipation, for on this night the fairies would gather from every corner of the forest to join in the summer festival, a long-honored tradition where laughter, music, and enchanted lights brought joy to all who attended. In Marisol's world, summer was not only a season of long days and warm breezes, it was a time of gratitude for the fertile earth, the blossoms that opened under the sun's bright glow, and the gentle hum of bees collecting nectar from fragrant blooms. During the festival, fairies offered their appreciation to the forest for its gifts. They strung tiny lanterns among the branches, sang songs of ancient lore, and danced in soft circles upon mossy carpets under the watchful moon. Though this celebration was joyous, it was never loud or overwhelming. Everything in the fairy realm held a sense of quiet wonder, of harmonious union with nature's pulse. Marisol stepped gingerly through a patch of clover, each small leaf glistening under the fading sunlight. A tender wind brushed against her cheeks, carrying with it the sweet scent of chamomile and lavender. She paused to listen. The forest rustled with gentle activity. Creatures tucked away in hollow logs yawned before their evening strolls. Leaves whispered secrets to each other about the shift from day to night. In the distance, a faint melody of woodwind instruments beckoned, signaling that the festival was soon to begin. Marisol smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. She adjusted a small satchel at her side, which contained delicate gifts for her friends. A spool of shimmering thread she had spun at dawn, a necklace of dew-kissed rose petals, and a softly glowing firefly lantern. As she continued her walk toward the clearing where the festivities would take place, her thoughts traveled back to previous festivals, warm recollections of gentle laughter and the shared glow of fairy lights spiraling into the summer darkness. She remembered the hush that settled at midnight, when all the fairies would gather hand in hand, wings brushing in camaraderie, to sing lullabies to the woodland creatures. It was a time of collective peace, when the forest thrummed in unison with the fairies' comforting voices. Tonight, she sensed that same enchantment in the air, a soothing vow that in the midst of laughter and song, there would be rest and renewal as well. Soft threads of music drifted on the breeze, guiding her gently forward. Candles in the distance flickered beneath the low-hanging boughs of willows and birch. The gathering clearing was a tapestry of moss and wildflowers, with stepping stones leading into its heart. The gentle hum of conversation touched the air, though it sounded more like melodic whispers than boisterous chatter. Fairy wings glinted under lantern light, and blossoms swayed as a breeze carried the scent of honeysuckle. Marisol approached the circle of her kin, returning nods and smiles as she joined the ring of fairies already dancing in a calm, spinning motion. At the center of the clearing stood a grand fountain sculpted from petrified wood, ancient and wise, with smooth ridges and subtle patterns that seemed to depict scenes from forgotten tales. From its peak flowed silvery water that cascaded softly down, gathering into a glittering pool where lily pads afloat seemed to shimmer. Each lily pad held a tiny crystal orb, capturing the moonlight and refracting it into gentle beams across the clearing, creating a pattern of dancing lights. Here and there, small creatures of the forest peered out from behind leaves and bushes. A curious chipmunk perched on a stone, whiskers quivering as it marveled at the display. A pair of nightingales hopped among the low branches, their delicate feathers ruffled in excitement for the evening songs. Marisol offered her gifts to friends, exchanging kind words, gentle embraces, and heartfelt gratitude. She received trinkets in return, a polished pebble with flecks of quartz, a hand-woven ribbon the color of twilight, and a tiny paintbrush fashioned from a squirrel's bristles. Each gift had its own quiet story, a piece of the giver's imagination, shaped by moonlit inspiration. Fairies valued these small tokens not for their material worth, but for the stories and bonds they represented. Beneath the hushed glow of evening lanterns, Marisol felt an outpouring of contentment, a sense of belonging that only deepened as the festival's soft current drew her further in. Soon, a graceful fairy elder named Fionn entered the clearing, his wings larger than most and etched with swirling patterns that told of many seasons witnessed. He carried in his hands a smooth wooden staff topped with a lantern made of polished shell. Inside the lantern, a gentle flame danced, illuminating his kind features. Fionn raised the lantern to cast a warm radiance across the gathering, and at his nod, a melody of flutes, harps, and woodland chimes rose to greet the evening sky. The fairies formed a circle around him, each waiting with serene anticipation for what came next. With a voice that resonated as softly as a lullaby, Fionn spoke of gratitude for the flowers that bloomed beneath the sun, for the forest that sheltered them, and for the bonds of kinship that thrived in the hush of night. He recounted tales of festival evenings long past, stories of luminous firefly processions and dawn-lit feasts that carried the promise of hope and renewal. His words flowed like the soft murmur of a brook, and as he spoke, drowsy forest animals paused to listen, lulled by the peace in his tone. When he finished, a chorus of fairy voices rose in gentle harmony, offering thanks to the wind that guided their wings and to the earth that nourished their roots. Then, with a graceful tilt of his staff, Fionn invited everyone to partake in the first dance of the night. The music lifted in a quiet shimmer, a series of notes that evoked images of moonbeams on still water. Marisol joined the circle, and as her feet moved in a slow, weightless rhythm, she could feel her heartbeat align with the gentle cadence of the song. Her mind floated free, untethered by concerns, filled instead with the simple joy of moving in harmony with friends and nature. Around her, fairy skirts made of petals brushed the moss, and wings fluttered in unison like a breeze through leaves. Each fairy wore a soft smile, eyes half closed, surrendering to the lull of the moment. When the dance concluded, they assembled in smaller clusters, each group gathering around tiny tables carved from mushroom caps. Upon these tables lay an assortment of forest delights, bowls of crushed berries drizzled with nectar, cups of herbal tea brewed from newly budded leaves, and fresh honeycomb that glistened in the lantern light. The air carried the comforting aroma of warm bread baked with sunflower seeds, and the sound of gentle conversation drifted like hushed waves upon the shore. There were no loud exclamations here, no boisterous laughter. Instead, the fairies savored each bite and sip, exchanging stories of distant meadows where wildflowers swayed in rainbow hues, or hidden waterfalls that sparkled like diamonds in the midday sun. Marisol sipped her tea from a delicate acorn cup, relishing the sweet and earthy flavor. She leaned into the hushed chatter, listening to recollections of peaceful nights spent watching fireflies dance, or daytime adventures spent perched on a swaying leaf to catch sunbeams. In this realm, time was measured not by clocks, but by the changing color of the sky, and by the blossoming and withering of flowers throughout the seasons. Here the pace was gentle, the heart unhurried. A few of her friends spoke of the festival's highlight, the fairy light parade that would take place under the deep midnight sky. Marisol felt a little flutter of excitement at the mention of it. This parade was not loud or flashy. Rather, it was a slow procession of fairies carrying small, glowing lanterns, winding through the forest to spread blessings of peace and renewal. Along the way, they would softly hum a lullaby to guide the woodland creatures into a serene slumber, ensuring that all in the forest experienced the gentle touch of summer's glow. When the final rays of twilight surrendered to a star-strewn darkness, Marisol gathered with the others at the edge of the clearing. Each fairy held a lantern, glowing in hues of pale blue, soft amber, or warm rose. The flames inside flickered gently like a heartbeat made of light. In the hush, the fairies began their winding path among the trees. The procession moved as if in a dream, each step light and unhurried, each wing beat in whispered harmony with the forest's nighttime lullaby. Overhead, countless stars gleamed, reflecting in the wings of the fairies below, creating a tapestry of glowing constellations both above and below. Owl feathers brushed the air in near silent flight, the wise bird gliding from branch to branch, quietly observing the parade. Small mice and hedgehogs, lulled by the gentle aura, peeped out from their nests to watch the spectacle pass by. The soft hum of the fairies' lullaby seemed to resonate with every living thing, and even the leaves on the trees seemed to hush their rustling, attentive to the melody. Moonbeams filtered through the canopy, illuminating sparkling motes of dust that hovered like tiny, weightless diamonds. Now and then, a firefly joined the procession, twinkling along in camaraderie, as though eager to be part of the gentle radiance. Marisol walked alongside her dear friend, a fairy named Alicia, whose lantern glowed with the faint color of dawn. Alicia's voice blended seamlessly into the lullaby, a breathy alto that soothed and reassured. Each note she sang carried a sense of warmth, like a soft blanket settling over the forest floor. Marisol added her own harmonies, weaving in and out of Alicia's melody, their voices mingling in peaceful unity. Step by step, they ventured deeper into the woods, weaving among tall trunks and drifting past quiet glens, leaving behind a softly shimmering trail that lingered in the air before fading into gentle memory. Eventually, the procession returned to the clearing, the lantern's light reflecting off the fountain's silver waters. The fairies formed a circle once more, drawing close around the ancient petrified wood. A soft hush descended upon them. Lanterns were placed around the edge of the fountain, and as they glowed, they cast elongated shadows across the mossy clearing. Fionn stood at the center again, his staff's lantern dimmed to a mild flicker. He smiled upon everyone, his eyes shining with a gentleness born of gratitude. He then lowered his staff, extinguishing the small flame inside, signifying a time for repose. One by one, the fairies followed suit, blowing out or gently closing the shutters on their lanterns, until the clearing was illuminated mostly by the faint glow of the moon and stars above. A breeze stirred through the branches, carrying the subtle fragrance of night-blooming jasmine and the mild spice of cedar. The hush of the forest cradled them like a lullaby, and a sense of deep calm took root in the clearing, radiating outward through every living being in the area. Marisol felt the soft moss beneath her feet, still a little warm from the sun's earlier rays. The festival's activities had gently woven a tapestry of memory, of dancing, sharing gifts, sipping sweet tea, and walking by lantern light. Now the time had arrived for quiet reflection, for letting the evening's enchantment deepen into rest. Each fairy found a comfortable spot beneath a tree or in a bed of clover. Wings settled softly, folding against their backs like fragile fans. Voices fell silent, replaced by the tranquil calls of nearby crickets, who played their own nocturnal symphony. She settled against a smooth stone at the base of a willow tree, letting her eyes drift around the clearing. She caught glimpses of her friends, each drawing close to a place of comfort, their breathing slowing in unison with the rhythmic pulse of the forest. As her eyelids grew heavier, Marisol sighed, contentment blossoming in her chest. The festival had fulfilled its promise to unite friends and nature in a gentle communion, to celebrate the softness of summer's twilight, and to honor the forest with a spirit of respect and love. High above, the moon shone its benevolent light, illuminating the leaves in a quiet glow. Stars shimmered like distant lanterns placed by ancient hands. A faint luminescence still lingered in the fountain's water, as if it held the reflections of all the lanterns that once danced there. An otherworldly stillness blanketed the clearing, peaceful and kind, like an embrace that asked for nothing more than to be accepted. With a final, languid blink, Marisol's eyes closed. Her thoughts floated, unhurried, toward the gentle lull of dreams. As the night deepened, a hush spread out in waves. forest creatures retreated into slumber, guided by the residue of the fairies' lullaby. Nearby streams flowed in a soft murmur, and leaves rested against each other with only the slightest rustle, mindful not to disturb the gentle peace that had settled over every living thing. In that warm embrace of summer night, the fairies' summer festival concluded in dreamlike harmony, a celebration that lingered in the hearts of all who attended, whispering its promise of solace and renewal. In this realm, sleep came not as an afterthought, but as a cherished treasure, an integral moment where new dreams formed in the quiet hours, weaving possibility for the coming dawn. Now, allow your own breathing to flow in soft, even waves once more. Imagine the clearing with its silvery fountain, the circle of fairies finding rest in the hush of night, and the moonlit orchard of trees offering a protective canopy above. Picture yourself drifting to that same place of comfort, a quiet haven in the forest, where the moss is as plush as a warm blanket, and the nighttime air is gentle on your skin. Let your eyes grow heavier. Feel the calming weight of your body, a welcoming pull into a deeper level of relaxation. Each breath is slow, intentional, and kind to your mind. Let any lingering tension melt away, as though it evaporates into the moonlit sky, leaving behind only ease. Consider the contentment that Marisol felt, the sense of unity with friends, nature, and the tender magic woven by shimmering lanterns. Allow that tranquility to settle in you, a still pool of calm that rests at the core of your being. With every breath out, give yourself permission to release one more layer of thought, one more fleeting worry. There is nothing pressing or urgent right now. Only the moment of peaceful surrender remains. This night is yours to embrace with gentle devotion, free from demands or busy chatter. As you lie in your safe, cozy space, recall the twinkling lights around the clearing. Envision them as tiny guardians of serenity, each one holding a small spark of comfort and warmth. Feel those little lights glowing in your own inner landscape, brightening the corners of your mind where tension might linger. The subtle lullaby of the fairies resonates still, guiding every creature into a restful, healing sleep. Let the memory of that lullaby remind you that you, too, are worthy of deep rest and sweet dreams, just as the fairies found solace under the glowing moon. Slowly, let your awareness soften further. The hush is deepening. Your heartbeat is steady, like the distant drums of the festival, calm and reassuring. Each inhalation is a gift of gentle energy. Each exhalation is a wave of release that cradles you closer to slumber. If thoughts emerge, greet them without resistance, then watch them float away, like fireflies drifting into the quiet recesses of the wood. And now, dear traveler, let yourself drift. There is nowhere else you need to be, and nothing else you need to do. Let the summer evening's enchantment draw you into a realm of soft dreams and peaceful slumber. Under the same moon that shone upon Marisol and her friends, you find your own respite. The festival's glow lingers in your heart, a promise that magic resides in even the gentlest corners of the night. Good night, dear traveler. May your dreams be filled with gentle lights and soft laughter. Sleep well and wake with the warmth of the sun's first tender rays. Rest now in a place where stories and dreams merge, and the quiet hush of fairy wings can guide you into the sweetest of slumbers. Good night. Sleep peacefully.